You're not sure what to bet? Don't worry, I gotcha. Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and degenerates. It's Mitch here with my last minute best bets for week 6 of the 2025 NFL season. I'm talking spreads, totals, player props, all the bets you need to make some money in week 6. If that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel for weekly NFL best bets. I give you best bets for spreads, for over-unders, for props, and everything in between. I even judge other people's best bets. That's what we do here on Money Mitch, with the goal to make money every week of the NFL season. Just a reminder, guys, if you don't know, I do have a Patreon where you can get all of my actual bets that I make every single week. That's on Patreon. What I'm doing with my real money to make money betting on the NFL. Let's get started, though, with my recommendations on some totals, some spreads, and some props. Now, of course, I don't talk about the plays that I already talk about in my spread video, in my over-under video. These are actually additional plays for you guys in week 6. Let's start it off with a couple spreads that I've been thinking about. Remember, I did bring up a couple spreads that I was intrigued by when I released my week 6 best bets versus the spread, because there were a couple games that just too much uncertainty. Injuries, needed to think about it, but I am going to do it. The 49ers, plus 3.5 at Tampa Bay. I think it's a good bet. I liked it at the beginning of the week. I like it at the end of the week. We've looked over the injury reports. The matchup between Kyle Shanahan and Todd Bowles has historically favored Shanahan over and over again. These two teams played last season when the Niners were a much worse team, specifically from a coaching standpoint defensively. They also were equally pretty banged up, and Tampa also was equally banged up. So these two teams in their current form sort of did play last year, and the Niners won despite missing 3 field goals. 3. Okay? The 49ers also hammered the Bucs in 2022. They've actually played quite often as of late, and they also beat them by multiple touchdowns, I do believe, in 2023 as well. So the 49ers have owned this matchup 3 consecutive years. I think they've played now 4 consecutive seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Even dating back to 2019, the 49ers dominated that matchup against the Bucs and Todd Bowles. So Kyle Shanahan has owned this matchup. He just has a good sense for how to catch Todd Bowles in his blitz looks and how to counter with misdirection and explosiveness. I like Mac Jones in this type of matchup because what we saw against the Rams is he's decisive with the football, he's not going to hold on to the ball, and he knows where to go with the football in this offense. He's not like Brock Purdy in terms of his scrambling ability, but he's also not like Brock Purdy in terms of he's not going to hold the ball. He's going to get rid of the ball. And the 49ers, I do think, are trending towards healthier, as the Bucs are trending towards we're still really banged up. The 49ers are getting Juwan Jennings most likely. I'm going to give it like an 88% chance that Juwan Jennings plays this game. So that's big. Juwan Jennings did show rapport with Mac Jones against the Saints. He had a big game in that game. So there is a bit of rapport there between Mac and Juwan Jennings. But specifically for Juwan, he's a big third down guy. Third and Juwan, he's that big contested target type of receiver, and it certainly helps to take advantage of a Bucs secondary that is depleted. They're without Benjamin Morrison, their young rookie corner who looks extremely promising. They're without McCollum at corner as well, who might be their best one-on-one cover corner. So that means that their rookie Parrish, who's been really excellent at the nickel position, has to slide outside. I think that's a bad matchup for them if he's trying to cover Jawan or Kendrick Bourne, who went off against the Rams, and that 2021 Patriots connection seems to have a lot of rapport right now. And of course, Christian McCaffrey is also a huge mismatch against the Bucs. They're terrible against running backs in the passing game because Levante David and Dennis, their other linebacker, are not good in coverage. They're both like bottom 10 in coverage grade according to PFF this year. So both are really struggling to cover running backs. Tonjes has also been an effective tight end in Kittle's absence. I just feel like Kyle Shanahan right now, you can't bet against this guy. He has 10 days of preparation. This offense with Mac Jones is cooking. And the one thing we've seen from the Niners that's a really good thing against the Bucs, they will pass with volume this year. They will pass 35, 40, 45 times to win the game. The Bucs, they're great against the run, but not good against the pass, and that's where you can take advantage. So I really like that matchup. I'd partner the 49ers getting 3.5 with a couple other bets in terms of the total, with the Niners team total sitting at around 22.5. That's minus 120. I would take the over. I don't hate the over for the game at 47.5 because I do believe that there's a chance the Bucs offense also finds success because the Niners have struggled to rush the quarterback without Nick Bosa. That being said, I do feel like the Niners should be solid on that side of the ball with extra days to prepare. A beat-up Bucs receiving core, no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. Their offensive line's been beat up for a while. No Bucky Irving. The Niners have been good against the run pretty much all season, and they also get one of their key pieces of their secondary back this week, Malik Mustafa, who has not played all year. He'll play situationally, so not all the time, but he certainly doesn't hurt. He's a very physical presence, and he brings a lot of energy to that defense. So I like the over for the game, but my favorite bets here are Niners plus 3.5, Niners over 22.5, and if you want to get a little sweet, you could also bet Mac Jones over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 105. So plus money for Mac Jones to throw 2 touchdowns. He did that last week. He's been doing that, I feel like, almost every week he started. I know for certain he did that against the Saints. I'm not 100% sure he did it against the Cards, but either way, he's hitting more often than not. He's playing a Bucs team that you don't want to run the ball against. The Niners have yet to run for a touchdown from their running back position yet, so they're not a team that runs the ball in the red zone. They throw the ball in the red zone, and Mac Jones will have those opportunities. Jawan Jennings, a big factor in the red zone. I think McCaffrey, a big factor catching the ball in the red zone. And then to top it all off, it's a beat-up Bucs secondary. It's still a pretty healthy Bucs front. So Shanahan's going to pick his spots to throw the ball against this secondary in the red zone. So I really like Mac. I really like the over for the Niners because 23, 24, pretty key numbers in this game. That's where I think the Niners need to get to, 24, 27, in that range to win this game. I think they can do that. And also, when it comes to the spread, 3.5, the Bucs have yet to win a game by more than 3. They're 4-1. They have yet to win a game by more than 3 points. Think about that for a second. They beat Seattle by 3. They beat the Texans by 1, right? I think they beat the Falcons by 3. So you go down their schedule. Are they going to beat the Niners by 4? Maybe the best team they've played all year, even with the injuries. I'm not so sure. I like Shanahan here. 10 days to prepare. Give me the Niners. Mac Jones, Kyle Shanahan, plus 3.5, over 22.5. Mac Jones, 1.5 touchdowns, over all 3 bets. I like this week. Might as well put them all together, right? Now, the next game that I think is pretty interesting is Sunday Night Football. And I want to add the Lions plus 2.5 to the video here. Now, I love the Lions in a teaser. If you want to tease the Lions up to 8.5, that's a recommended play from me. You can partner that up with maybe the Rams or the Broncos or maybe both, or maybe even San Francisco if you want. But the Lions, I think, are the better football team here, and they're getting a bit disrespected because the Chiefs are in a desperation spot. But there's a couple stats that I want to give you in terms of favoring the Lions in this game. The Chiefs' defense is not the same as it's been the last couple years. They right now struggle against play action. The best play action team in football is Detroit. They run it the most frequently. They're also extremely efficient off of play action. Jared Goff always has been, dating back to his Rams days. And the Chiefs are number 32 at defending play action. So the Lions should have success with play action. Play action also stems from a strong running game, of course. The Lions love to run outside zone. It's their most frequent run that they utilize. the Chiefs are second worst against outside zone. These are stats both from Warren Sharp that I think both indicate a successful day for the Lions scoring the football. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery should be able to give the Chiefs a tough time, as the Chiefs have not been defending the run particularly well this year. Through the air, that partnering up with the play action and keeping the Chiefs off balance and keeping Spags out of situations where he can really blitz and get those creative, exotic third down blitz packages is ideal to beating the Chiefs. It's how you beat the Chiefs defense. You get effective gains on the ground and or effective passes on early downs, and you stay out of 3rd and 6+. Against the Spags defense, that's how you beat it. Now, also, there's mismatches for the Lions, right? If, let's say, Trent McDuffie's shadowing Amon-Ra is still going to win some of those, right? But McDuffie's really good. He's the only real reliable back-end piece that this defense and secondary has. Watson's been inconsistent, and if he's shadowing Jameson Williams, that's a speed disadvantage big time for the Chiefs. They're going to have to put a safety over top that because that's a dangerous threat, okay? Isaac Tesla's looked pretty good in moments. Sam Laporta could be a problem in this game for the Chiefs linebackers and or safeties, which their linebackers aren't great in coverage, and also their safeties are not very good. Their pass rush for Kansas City has just been non-existent. Against Trevor Lawrence, non-existent. Detroit has a good offensive line. Jared Goff is making such great decisions. He's seeing the field well. He's not getting confused. He's getting the ball out on time. He's just playing really efficient football. And I trust Jared Goff to consistently move the football through the air and get the Lions in the right play against a complex Spags defense. That's one of the things I love about Jared Goff in this matchup is he's going to be better than most quarterbacks at kind of understanding what the Chiefs are doing on defense. Not to mention, Jared Goff is undefeated against Patrick Mahomes for what it's worth. He is 2-0. So I think he's the only guy that's played multiple games against Mahomes that's been 2-0 or better. So actually Brady did that once upon a time, but obviously he lost eventually. So the Lions plus 2.5. And you look at the defense, and I know people are concerned about the corners, obviously, but Amik Robertson is not a bad player. I don't think he's too much worse than Terrion Arnold, to be honest with you. And he's that kind of quick guy that should be able to be an ideal matchup for Xavier Worthy or even a Tyquan Thornton if you want to go that route. Rock Ya-Sin is a professional football player. He's not fantastic. He's a depth corner, but he's not terrible, in my opinion. The safeties for the Lions are fantastic. Their linebackers are fantastic. Their pass rush is pretty damn good, too. Alim McNeil could play in this game, who's the Lions' best defensive tackle. He hasn't played all year. Aiden Hutchinson could be a problem for either one of these tackles, especially Jawan Taylor. Jawan Taylor's going to have problems in this game with Aiden Hutchinson. So that's something that the Chiefs have to account for. Unlike the Lions, where, Chris Jones looks kind of washed and not really in it. So, yeah, the Chiefs are desperate, but the team that runs the ball better, has more balance, can potentially control the ball and control the clock better is the Lions. They're the better team, in my opinion. They're getting points. So, yeah, love a teaser, but I'd also just take the Lions. And to partner that up, I feel like the Lions over 26.5 at minus 115 is also a really good price because 27 is a pretty key number, 28, 30. I think the Lions score 30 in this game. If not, they'll score 27, 28. And if they lose, let's say 30 to 27, you're going to hit over 26.5. So I think that's a really good number for Detroit because, like I said, they have really good matchups in this game. Whether it be through the air, off play action, or running the football in outside zone, they should be able to effectively move the ball against a overrated Chief defense. So I like the Lions plus 2.5. I like the Lions over 26.5. They might be the best offense in the NFL. Some other spreads that are pretty interesting are the Packers minus 13.5. If you can find a 13.5, it's a big number, but I'd consider it. I mean, this is a complete mismatch. Packers off a bye week, a little bit healthier on the offensive line. Josh Jacobs and the Packers running the football all over the Bengals, who have been really dissected in the run game in recent weeks. Tucker Kraft against one of the worst teams against tight ends is a pretty big deal. I could see a bit of a golden bye week, let's say, infusion into the offense. I could see him really spark this offense down the field. And defensively, Joe Flacco with 3 or 4 days to kind of learn a playbook against this pass rush that's rested at home I mean, the Packers are going to destroy this team. Like, it's a bad matchup for the Bengals. A ball possession, explosive passing game in the Packers, coupled with a great pass rush. The Bengals have a terrible defense and a terrible offensive line. It's a really bad matchup for the Packers. So if you can get under 14, I would probably lay the points with the Packers. I think that 6.5 is getting to be too much for the Browns. I'm not really going to say that this is like a best bet, but at a certain point, I mean, how many points are going to be scored in this game? 6.5 is getting to be outrageous. The Browns' defense is still really, really good. Their defensive line is awesome, and they should dictate this game against the Steelers' offensive line. DK Metcalf should be shadowed by Denzel Ward and be limited in this game. And the Browns can have a formula offensively. Gabriel looked good. He didn't turn it over against the Vikings, a very complex defense that's better than the Steelers. The Steelers have struggled against the run this year. Judkins could have a day, and they've struggled against tight ends. Njoku and Fannin are pretty talented. So I could see the Browns winning this game. I could see the Browns hanging in this game. 6.5 is just too many with a total of 38.5. So throwing that out there as well. I also, in that game, my favorite bet, I think, would be David Njoku over 35.5 receiving yards. He's actually gone over this in like 4 games this year. He's had multiple 40-yard games, and then the only game he had with Gabriel was his best game of the season. I think he had 7 catches for over 60 yards against Minnesota, who's a much better team against tight ends. So the Steelers, their linebackers in coverage struggle, their safeties suck. So I kind of feel like Njoku is a guy that could have a big day here, whether the Browns cover the number or not. So that's at minus 110. I like that prop for the Browns. Some of the other totals that I do like and some of the other props. So we discussed the Lions, we discussed the Niners, 4 team totals. I also like the Saints under 20.5, which is probably my favorite team total. We discussed the under for the game with the Patriots and the Saints. This is one that I'll let you know I've bet myself and will be on Patreon. The Saints under 20.5. That's at minus 115, but I found a minus 110 earlier in the week, but it's starting to move. I don't see the Saints scoring 3 touchdowns in this game. The Saints have not really played a defense as good as the Patriots, in my opinion, all season. They played the Niners, pretty good defense. They played the Cardinals. I think they're worse than the Patriots. The Bills, I think they're worse than the Patriots defense. And the Patriots defense is just a different animal with Christian Gonzalez in the secondary. He changes what they do on defense. He changes how they can cover. And this is a back end that can run with and cover Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. This is a great interior pass rush between Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, who are both top 10 at the defensive tackle position in pressures, which is the only duo in football that way. And Spencer Rattler, if he can't get the run game going and he's in poor down and distances on Sunday, that's going to mean pressure. That's going to mean mistakes for the Saints. The Saints like to push the tempo, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think the Patriots offensively will be controlling the clock because Drake May is a very high success rate passer, which means he's going to probably dink and dunk his way down the field against a heavy zone coverage Saints defense. They're going to hold the ball. They're going to run the ball. And I think on the other side, the Saints are just not going to be able to get enough traction. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball well enough because of the pressure. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball because the Patriots are an excellent run defense. So if the Patriots stop the run, that means Spencer Rattler's in really poor position in this game. I think the Patriots will hold the Saints under 20 points. And this is basically, they have to score 21. So I think under 20. And they've only scored over 20 in the game they beat the Giants thanks to 5 turnovers last week. And in garbage time against the Niners, they scored 21. So I kind of like the under. More games, often than not, they haven't scored this amount of points. And this is the best defense they've played, in my opinion. On Monday Night Football, I like the Bills over 27.5. I think they're going to score 30. Look, how many times the Bills score 30 points last week? Or last year, I should say. Not last week, obviously. They only scored 20. Last year, they scored 30, like 11 times, 12 times out of how many games? This year, the only game they haven't scored 30 points was last week. I don't think it's going to happen 2 weeks in a row, specifically in a dome environment on Monday Night Football where Josh Allen's going to be angry. The biggest reason I like this is the Falcons' defense could be a little overrated right now. You look at some of the offenses they faced. I don't know, right? They didn't do too bad against the Bucs in week 1, an injured Bucs, right? An injured Bucs, not even a fully healthy Bucs. But otherwise, who they've played, I mean, come on. The Commanders, they conceded 27 to the Commanders in Marcus Mariota, who might be the most similar offense to the Bills that they faced in terms of like mobile quarterback with a great running game, really good scheme, really good yak options, right? And then they've got, I feel like, honestly, obviously Josh Allen is a lot better than Marcus Mariota. So that might be the most similar matchup you could look at. But they played what? The Vikings with J.J. McCarthy. They've really feasted. They played the Panthers and they lost 30-0. They conceded 30 points, even though that was more on Michael Penix. But I think this is a primetime spot, a bounce back spot. Josh Allen, James Cook against the 27th rush defense and yards per attempt allowed. The Bills, when they can run the ball, they're unstoppable. When they can run the ball, you can't stop them because it's just like you get Josh Allen in 2nd and 3, good luck, right? You've got 3 plays to convert that. So to me, I think the Bills explode for 34, 38 points here. I think they're going to go crazy. And I love that, over 27.5. If you want to stay away from them laying the points, I think that's the best way to play that game. Over 27.5 with the Bills on Monday night. If you don't trust the Bills defense, which is fair. Some of the other props that I have yet to mention, I think that Cameron Dicker for the Chargers going over 2.5 extra points at -105 is pretty interesting. I think the Chargers will score 3 touchdowns in this game. If you think the Chargers will score 3 touchdowns, bet this. If you think the Chargers are going to win, bet this. Period. The Chargers probably aren't going to beat the Dolphins without scoring 3 touchdowns. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? I don't think so. Right? Extra points with Dicker, almost automatic, great kicker. I think they're going to find a way to move the ball. The Dolphins don't have a pass rush. And yeah, the Chargers have struggled with their offensive line, but this is 2 weeks in a row, 2 back-to-back losses. I just don't see it happening again for the Chargers. I think this is a big bounce back for Herbert. I have the receiver edge for the Chargers versus the Dolphins corners. Might be the worst group in football. It's sunny Miami. It's Herbert against the team that should have drafted him. They drafted Tua instead. I think it's they're going to score 3 touchdowns. I think that's free money. I think that's free money. Maybe I'm crazy. Dicker over 2.5 extra points. You could also bet Herbert over 1.5 touchdowns at -120, but I like Dicker even more here because just in case the Chargers run the ball, right? And then the final one that I do want to bring up is Ramondre Stevenson to score a touchdown. He's +120 to score a touchdown this week. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. Right? Drake May didn't throw a touchdown last week, which was the first time he's ever not done that in his career. Ramondre Stevenson, no more Antonio Gibson. And as we've seen, they have yet to use Travion Henderson in the red zone really at all. And I do think that it's going to be Stevenson and Henderson basically splitting this backfield in half. They've brought up a practice squad running back, Terrell Jennings, as their third guy. He's not going to see the field. So if you think the Patriots are going to score a touchdown in the red zone, it's most likely to be Ramondre Stevenson. So plus money, favored Patriots team after 2 touchdowns last week. Yeah, give me Ramondre Stevenson to score a touchdown. That's where we're going to end it, guys. Thank you for watching. Those are my last-minute best bets for Week 6. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Money Mitch for weekly NFL best bets. Check out Patreon, link in the description and the pinned comment. Good luck on your bets. We'll see you next time. Peace.